So everyone, welcome to the core of your game. And today we're going to unlock some distance and stability. And I'm going to talk about how important strength, balance, mobility are for the golf game because I want you to have a pain-free golf all the time. So my name is Janis Thornton, and I am a golf fitness specialist. And let's dive into this webinar today. So who is this webinar for? So this webinar is for those who are over 50 and love playing golf. Now, if you are on here or you are watching the replay and you are under 50, you are still more than welcome to stay. I just happen to be over 50 and I like to target working with my people who are over 50. If you've noticed a loss of distance or control, then you definitely want to be staying on this webinar. If you want to stay injury-free and mobile, this is for you. And you're not looking to bulk up, but you just want to play better and feel better, stick around, and you want exercises that fit your body and your goals. That's what this webinar is all about. So in today's class, we're going to go over the real role of your core in your golf swing, how balance impacts consistency and shot control. We're going to do why mobility makes or breaks your swing and where strength fits into a safe, powerful golf game and action steps that you're going to be able to start using right away. So today I'm going to be talking for about 45 minutes, and then I'll have questions. If you have any questions after, we'll take care of those afterwards. Okay, so just a little bit about me. That's me and my husband, Roy. He was actually my caddy for one of the tournaments that I was in. And yes, I did win. That's why I put that picture up there because he's an awesome golfer and an awesome caddy. So I am originally from Beaver Dam, Wisconsin. And if anyone is wondering where Beaver Dam is, it is a small town. It is between Madison and Milwaukee. I do have a master's degree in exercise physiology from UW-La Crosse, and I got some of the best advice ever in college, and that was to do my internship out of state and go somewhere where I've never been. So I ended up in Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1993, and that's where I met Roy. We've actually been together for 30 years, and we'll be married 28 years come September. Now I live in Cave Creek, Arizona. So if people don't know where Cave Creek is, it is just north of Phoenix. We're still in the valley. We just happen to be on the north side of the valley. Now, I did work in sick care for over 25 years. So I spent over 10 years working in cardiac rehab. And then I spent around 14, 15 years working in the pharmaceutical industry. So I saw illness on a daily basis. So that's exactly why I created my own online personal training business because I was done working in illness. I truly wanted to work in healthcare. And that's what my business, I love personal training, but I also love the golf side of things. I am TPI Level 2 fitness certified. I have a Golf Digest Golf Fitness Trainer certification, a NASM Golf Specialist certification, and an ACE Personal Trainer certified. I do love golf. I've been playing for a long time, and I want to be able to help others get better at golf, and that's including myself. So I'm kind of being selfish here. I really want to be able to help myself, but also help others. Now, I did play tennis for over 25 years. I stopped in my mid 30s. I literally was wondering if I was the next step I was going to take if my knees were going to give out. So I did have to give that up. But I did pick up golf and I've been playing for over 20 years. My husband started it with me, he got me into it, and now he's got a crazy woman. I am a single digit handicap, and I've been that for around the last 5 or 6 years. So for those wondering, I am a 7.9 right now. And then I have also been featured, JT Fitness and Golf has been featured in the 2024 Golf Digest Digital Magazine on a Fitness Friday. So that was always fun as well. So let's dive in and find out why fitness matters for those over 50. So, unfortunately, we have muscle loss, joint stiffness, and balance declines naturally with age. But guess what? We can make sure that this doesn't happen to you like it does with lots of people. And understand with most golf injuries aren't caused by the game. They're caused by lack of preparation. They're caused because people aren't strong enough. They don't have the mobility, they don't have the strength, they don't have the balance. And all of these things contribute to where we can be injured during our swing and during while we're playing. The good news, there is good news. We can reverse these trends with the right fitness approach. So that's the best news that we can hear, that all of this can be changed. And that's where I think a lot of people, when as we get older, they're just like, oh, I'm just aging. This is how it's supposed to be. Guess what? Age is just a number and it doesn't have to be this way. And I want to help others so that way we can reverse all of this. And golfers over 50 actually benefit more from smart strength training than younger players. So there is hope for us over 50. So come on. So in the chat, I would love to know, and I might have to stop sharing my screen so I can actually see what you're typing. But what's holding back your swing right now? So where do you feel like you have the most restrictions in your hips, back, or shoulders? So type in the chat for me and I'm going to look at the end because I do want to see what you guys type. So do please type something in there. Oh, actually, I think I can poke up the chat. I can. Hips, back. Okay, that's good to know. So what part of your game would improve most with better mobility? Is it something about your swing? Type in the chat what part of your game you think would improve most with better mobility. Or would you make better contact? Type in the chat. Power and control. Yep, nice. Just the swing overall. Okay, good. And type in the chat, have you ever trained your balance specifically for golf? Herb is seeking smoothness with some back issues and not willing to swing as fast as he could, swinging about 70%. Oh, and yep, two handicap and oh, sweet. Herb is 72 and two handicap and hits about 250. That's what I'm talking about. And he does some balance training for golf. See, so at 72 years old, can still hit 250. That is a nice poke out there. We don't have to be doing 350. It's all good. Okay, thank you, gang, for doing all that. Okay, so let's dive into core strength and the importance of core strength. So why core strength matters. So your core is really the engine room of your swing. The core transfers power, controls rotation, and protects your spine. We need our core. So what happens though when the core is weak? We get loss of posture where we might be standing up in our swing. We might have inconsistent ball striking. Might have back pain, low back pain, especially low back pain after the round. And you may be using your arms or lower back to generate power. These are all signs that your core is weak. Now, I want you to realize our core is not just abs. A lot of people really think, oh, our core is just our abdominal muscles, but we've got more than just abdominal muscles, even though in this picture, she looks good. So we've got our rectus abdominis, and this is like our six pack. This is what flexes the spine, stabilizes our whole trunk area. We have our transverse abdominis. Now this muscle where this is, it's deep in our abdominal, in the abdominals. And this is what really gives us deep stabilization. And our transverse abdominis acts like a girdle around us, or think of kind of in strength training when you wear that weight training belt. So it acts kind of as a belt. It's horizontally around us, giving us support. And then we have our internal and external obliques. And we need obliques because in the golf swing, we need rotation, we need lateral flexion, which is a side bend. And then we also need our obliques because we have to do a power transfer when we are hitting the ball. Now, this is where we flip over our erector spinae. Now we're in our back. So again, our core is not just our stomach muscles. So now we're going to go into our back. So our erector spinae run up and down our spine, and they help us extend, laterally flex, which is a side bend, and maintain our posture. We also have what is called the multifidus, and this also runs up and down your spine, and it's like a deep stabilizer, kind of like the transverse abdominis. Deep stabilizers, keeping us strong. And then our glutes medius, minimus, and maximus are part of our core as well. And our glutes give us hip stability, power generation, and pelvic control. We need our glutes to help us be able to do tilting of our pelvic region. Our lats, our latissimus dorsi. Now, our lats are our largest back muscle, and they have a huge role in what we do with the golf swing. They help with trunk rotation, shoulder movement, and core support. And then our trapezius, that is, or sometimes called our traps, another back muscle which is above the lats. This offers shoulder stabilization and also helps with posture maintenance. And the traps are also going to help with our rotator cuff area. Okay, some common swing flaws that are because of a weak core. So we can get early extension, and this is where our hips move toward the ball during the downswing, and our upper body will lose posture. Now, the gentleman in the picture, he does not have early extension. He has a very nice golf swing. A reverse spine angle. This is where when you are at the top of your backswing, your upper body might be leaning toward the target instead of away from the target. If you take lessons, your instructor might say, "Hey, you're not hanging back like you should be. You're getting to the target too soon." You may have loss of posture. This is easy to do. So if you are lacking mobility, you're lacking strength, you can be lifting up in your golf swing. So you're lifting up or standing up during the swing. And some people, literally, if you watch a high handicapper, you can see where they like literally just stand straight up and then they come back down to hit the ball. And then you might get a slide and sway where your hips are moving side to side. My husband loves to refer this to as dancing. He'll tell me, "Janice, you're dancing with your golf clubs again." Oh, frustrating. But all of these increase your risk of injury and ruin consistency. So how to train your core for golf. I'm going to tell you right now, it is not crunches that we are going to be doing. I grew up mainly in the 80s with the Jane Fondas of the world, and I'm going to tell you lots of crunches back then, but that's not the answer for the golfer. So we want to really focus on anti-rotational, which is resisting movement. This is more important than doing endless crunches. We want to do stabilization under load, so thinking bird dog or planks, because this is going to mimic the demands of the swing. And then we also want to add in rotational exercises because obviously golf is a rotational sport. We've got to practice rotating. I go to the gym and I watch people train, and I know some of them are golfers and they do nothing to train for golf. They're just in there doing their bench presses and their squats on the squat rack and all that kind of stuff. So let's look at some golf specific core movements. Now, the first one is anti-rotational with the Palloff press. And this is a great exercise that you can do at home. You can do at the gym. At home, you can use tubing that goes into the door jamb like I have in this photo, or you can do this on a cable machine. Either way, it's easy either way. So with the anti-rotation though, you want to make sure that your load is heavy enough that it actually, you feel like you want to be pulled toward the weight stack or pulled toward that door jamb. If you're not feeling that pull, you don't have enough weight. because with the Palloff press, you start with your hands at your chest, and then you have to activate your glutes. You have to, grip your glutes, brace your abs, and then really extend your arms out in front of you, pressing out. And it's a great exercise to keep you from rotating. Now, bird dog, a lot of people love to just like poo-poo this exercise. This is a great exercise for balance. And then it's also a great exercise for stabilization at the same time. Now, a lot of people also love to rush through this exercise. So like, oh, I know it's good for my backside. That's great. This exercise is good for your entire core system, like everything. You get your glutes worked, you get your abs, your back, your shoulders, everything. And think about in the golf swing. We want to be able to separate our upper body from our lower body when we're doing the golf swing. That's why we slide and sway, is it when we can't get that separation. This exercise helps you work on stabilizing your different parts of your body to teach it so that way so you can learn to really separate upper and lower body. But this also is great for balance as well, but you get a great full body workout with this exercise when you do it slow and controlled. And then rotation. I love working with rotation, with tubing. You can do this with a cable machine as well. Now, I will say this, I do have all of this stuff, all these exercises. There's, I believe, 9 or 10 different exercises that you're going to get in a PDF that you'll be able to get on a PDF. So don't worry about having to write all this down. It's all in PDF form for you that you'll get at the end. Okay, so let's jump into balance. So who's ready to test their balance a little bit today? So balance is the stability behind every swing, and why balance declines and why it matters is what we're going to jump into. So starting around the age of 50, we lose proprioception and leg strength. So proprioception is knowing where your body is when it's moving. And I'll say this, you can watch typically in an older golfer or a higher handicap golfer, they really don't have a clue even where their body is within the swing. Once you start becoming more aware of what your body actually does, the better you are going to be at your golf swing. But even at 50, we start to lose this, but I guarantee you when you practice, we can always know what our body is doing all the time. And of course, we can always work on leg strength, so don't worry about that. But lack of balance leads to swing compensations and poor finishes. And the result is the swaying, the sliding, poor contact, and we increase our risk of injury from these awkward movements. So the more compact we can get, the more precise we can get in a golf swing, the better it actually is for our body. So the balance swing connection, let's look at the swing demands on balance. So if you look at address position, I love Rory. I feel like he's got such a great swing. He's got such a great balanced swing. So when he is set up at address position, he's got a very stable setup. You can, again, look at your higher handicaps and how they just kind of address the ball and they're just like nonchalant. But you look at any golf professional, they have a very stable setup. Now, I know this isn't Rory, so don't quiz me later. I loved the transition of this picture though, because when it comes to this swing, we want to have this weight shift without swaying. And you can see in this picture, he does a great job of really doing internal or internal rotation of that trail leg. And that's what we want to work on as in our golf swing, is making sure that we have mobility in our hips. And we'll be talking about that in a little bit. But then follow through. Can you hold your finish? Again, I feel like Rory has got such a beautiful swing and he can hold that pose like no other. And I'm always amazed at how fast he swings and he still has such amazing balance. And that's what we all want to strive for, is to be able to have a strong address, have a great transition and weight shift, and then follow through and hold that pose. Okay, so some good balance drills for golfers is So all of these that I have in the PDF and that I'm going to show you today has some kind of assist with it because I want for the very beginner golfers to be able to do these exercises because all levels can do them. But then if you don't need the assist, you take it away. So this first one is a single leg squat with assist. So my assist was a tall foam roller. You can use a chair, a desk, whatever works for you. And you're going to do a single leg squat. So to start, if you want to tap your toe on the floor, have your toe, just have your toe on the floor. And then you're going to go squat, let yourself squat down. So you're going to sink back into your heel. You're going to let your butt stick out, keep your back flat. And then your foot that's flat on the floor, you do want to make sure that knee stays between your ankle and your toe when you come down. Do 8 to 10 reps on each side, and just you can do 2 or 3 sets if you want to do that. The single leg deadlift with a bar. So you can use a golf club, you can use a bar, a broomstick, a short broomstick, something like that. So with this exercise, though, you want to make sure that the bar is touching the back of your head, your shoulders, and your glutes during the entire exercise. So what happens is when people hinge at the hips and they start lifting that leg up, they'll start rounding their shoulders. And we want to make sure that your shoulders are back and square. So when you keep the bar down your entire spine, the whole set, that gives you great feedback right away. But this is a great balance drill for people to do, and you're going to see how high you can actually lift your leg up as well. And then the last one is leg swings with assist. And again, if you need the assist, use it. If not, that's fine. And we want to do leg swings side to side and front to back. But the thing to remember with the leg swings is this is a great balance exercise and mobility exercise. We're not trying out for the Rockettes. So it's not how far you can lift up your leg and be bending over. We want great posture. In golf, we want great posture. So you want to be standing tall and then swinging your legs. If you find you're hinging at the hips to try to get higher, you've actually gone too far. So we're not looking for how high, we're looking for just good mobility and good balance. And you'll find out this is a very difficult exercise to do without some kind of assist with it. Okay, so if you're up to it, you can do a little assessment if you want to stand by your computer right now or your phone, whatever you're doing, and test yourself. This is a fun little test to see how long you can balance. And ideally, we want to balance on one foot for 15 to 20 seconds. Now, in the picture that I have of this gentleman, I would like to see the knee up actually higher. So your hip is kind of at a 90-degree angle, your hip and your knee at a 90-degree angle. And again, see, can you balance for 15 to 20 seconds? And as soon as your toe touches the floor, you're done. So if it was 5 seconds, 10 seconds, great. You can give yourself a number. Now, if you're someone who's like, Janice, that was easy. While you've been talking, I've been balancing and everything is great. I've got the next level. So now I want you to try it with your eyes closed and see how long you can go. But please make sure you're next to a desk, a chair, something that you can touch if you feel yourself falling, because I don't want to hear people falling on the ground, please. But give this a try because you'll be amazed. The balancing part might be easy for some of you, but as soon as you try with your eyes closed, that's a different story. Okay, so now let's actually in the chat, I just want to see how everyone is doing. Is there I said keep your questions to the end, but just tell me, is everyone on point so far? We're doing good. Keep going. Tell me what you need. Or I must be good because no one's typing. So I can keep moving on. I'll just keep moving on to mobility. So mobility is unlocking your body's natural swing range. All good. Okay, perfect. Okay, so mobility is the golf swing freedom. The more mobile our body is, the better off we are. Now, there is a difference though between mobility and flexibility. So flexibility is our length of muscle. I think of like yoga is very good at improving flexibility. Mobility, though, we're looking at how your joint moves. And so the mobility is the joint, flexibility is the muscle. But you do need both. But for golf, mobility wins. The more mobile you are, the better off you're going to be. And mobility typically is the limiting factor in golf. So we're going to take a joint by joint approach with this. So when we look at we need stability, we need mobility in our bodies. And wow, our bodies are built so perfectly. So we're going to start at the feet. Our feet are so important that if we don't take care of our feet, the rest of our body can just go haywire. So it's very important that we do, wear good shoes, that you make sure you massage your feet, especially if they're hurting. Um, we want our feet to be as stable as they can because when we get to our ankles are supposed to be mobile. And as you're sitting at your desk right now or sitting down, I want you just to point and flex your toes. How mobile, how much movement do you have in your feet? Just point and flex your toes. And then next, I want you just to draw some ankles, do some ankle circles. Draw big circles with your toes and go both directions. And just kind of notice, do you have good mobility in your ankles? Or are you lacking on one side or the other? Or is it hard to do an ankle circle? Draw a circle with your toes. Some people have a really hard time actually just drawing a circle with their toes. But in the golf swing, we need our ankles to be mobile. We need to be able to push through our feet to be able to push through and fire through that golf ball. So once we figure out our ankles, we're going to move up to our knees. Now, our knees are supposed to be stable. They extend, they flex. That is their job. Their job is not to be rotational at any means. So if our ankles are sore or not very mobile, guess what? That affects our knees as well. The other area that affects our knees is our hips because our hips are supposed to be very mobile. We want good movement. We want good rotation. We want good anterior posterior tilting. We want all sorts of great things to be happening in our hip area. And our hips, if our hips aren't mobile, that affects our knees, ankles, feet. It also affects our low back when our hips aren't, when they're not mobile. Because our lumbar spine, our low back is supposed to be stable. And with that stability comes strength. However, a lot of times are people in their thoracic spine, their upper spine, they don't have a lot of mobility there where we need it. So when we're trying to do a swing, if we don't have a very mobile thoracic spine, unfortunately, our lumbar spine takes the brunt of that. And that's when we end up with a lot of low back pain. So the more mobile we can make this thoracic spine, the better off we're going to be protecting all of the rest of our low back and hips and all of that. So everything is tied together, obviously, because we have a nice strong kinetic chain and we want to keep it that way. So there's some simple mobility drills and the swing demands mobility. And this first stretch it's called the Bretzel stretch. And I love this stretch because we're able to get our quad stretch in, we're able to work on thoracic rotation, but we're protecting our low back, and we're also getting some shoulder stretch and pec stretch in there all at the same time. So with the Bretzel stretch, the thing to really remember, and the one thing I should have added in this picture was putting a pillow or something underneath my head. So if you feel like your neck or something needs more support, please do that. But you're putting your legs in a 90 degrees and you're on your side. Now with your top hand, you take your top leg, you want that knee to be aligned with your belly button. And you press your hand on your knee, keeping it on the floor the entire time. You don't want to be lifting up and lifting that knee up. because what we're doing is we are supporting the low back at this point. And when we open up, we want the movement to come from your thoracic spine, not from your low back. So you're also going to grab your other foot and do a quad stretch. So now you're getting a great quad stretch. And then when you start opening up your shoulder, now you get this beautiful stretch across your chest and then also into your thoracic spine. You just want to make sure you keep breathing throughout this stretch, but it's a fun stretch to do. The next one I love are internal and external hip rotations. Now, in our golf swing, we need internal and external hip rotation. When we do a takeaway, we want to internally rotate on that trail leg. When we do our full swing and follow through, we're internally rotating on our front leg. So the windshield wipers are awesome because you can either be laying down on the floor to do this and just gently drop your legs side to side. Do keep your abs braced when you do that, or you can be resting on your hands. Just make sure you're not sinking into your shoulders when you do that, but just go side to side. This exercise feels wonderful. And then the half kneeling thoracic opener. So I love doing this stretch also. And I do use a short foam roller when I do this exercise, because when I'm in that half kneeling position, my front knee, I have the foam roller pressed to against the wall. So it helps remind me that while I'm doing this exercise, that I'm not moving at the hips, that I'm moving at the thoracic spine. Because again, we want to teach our our upper body to separate from our lower body for our swing. So this helps you teach your body to do that separation. So your arms go parallel to the ground. And then as you exhale, you open up and just open up as wide as what's comfortable for you. Do 5 to 8 repetitions, but make sure, of course, that you do both sides. So let's look at, though, how lack of a mobility affects the golf swing in each of the different areas. Our lats, or our latissimus dorsi, our largest back muscle. Um, we will restrict shoulder movement if you have tight lats, and it also affects your posture. And what does this do in the golf swing? It gives you a shorter backswing. You can have loss of posture because you're not strong, and you can have the S posture. So that means you have a big curve in your low back, and we definitely don't want that because that's going to give you a lot of back pain. If your thoracic spine has lack of mobility, this limits your upper body rotation on your backswing. So you're going to have reduced turn, loss of power, and then other body compensations to go with that. If your hips have lack of mobility, now you've restricted your hip rotation and stability. So now you could have early extension, loss of power, and increased risk of injury along with that. If you have tight hamstrings, or if you have really tight hamstrings, this is going to limit your hip hinge. So that affects your address position of the ball, and it's going to affect your posture. So you're going to have a poor setup. Could have early extension, and then you could also have just a lot of compensation movements to go along with it. Your shoulders and your rotator cuff, obviously very important. But if you have limited mobility, it's going to restrict your backswing position. You're going to have a shorter swing, reduced speed, and extra arm stress. And we don't want to put stress on our arms because really it's during our golf swing, it's our legs that are generating the power, and the arms are just supposed to be coming on through when we take that swing. Our abdominals, so this reduces our trunk stability and energy transfer. So we need strong abs in order to really be able to smack that ball down the fairway. And if you don't have strong abs, you can have inconsistent shots and increase injury risk. And glutes, if you don't have strong glutes, then you reduce your hip stability and power, and then you also have a loss of balance and reduced distance. So now let's dive into strength. So we got to go over some strength training myths first, though. It amazes me how strength training baffles a lot of people when it comes to golf. So myth number one is strength training will make me big and bulky and stiff. So, which is not true. We're not out here to bodybuild. Number one, we're here to train for golf. So, smart strength training actually increases flexibility, mobility, and swing speed without adding size. And quite honestly, if you want to become a bodybuilder, you have to spend hours a day in the gym. And nobody has time for that anymore, especially if you're playing golf. We don't have time for that. Okay, myth number two, losing distance is just part of aging. So I'm going to tell you, first of all, your age is just a number. So instead of saying, oh man, I'm 60 now, it's I'm 60. Let's dominate 60. Just get the losing distance out of your head that it's part of aging. Because loss of distance is actually often due to muscle loss and reduced mobility. And guess what? We can change all of that. That's the best thing. So, myth number three, if I'm not in pain, I don't need to work on my body. Guess what? We do, because pain is often the last sign that something's actually wrong. So, the more that you can strength train and do mobility training, the better off you're going to be. Myth number four, balance can't be improved after a certain age. Well, I can tell you absolutely, yes, it can. Balance is a very trainable skill, even into your 70s and 80s. People are losing balance because they're losing strength and they don't practice it. Balance is something that you need to practice. I have my clients, I tell them all the time, like, just when you're brushing your teeth, stand on one leg and practice balance and practice on both sides. When, do a minute of practice on one side, because you're supposed to brush your teeth for 2 minutes, do 1 minute on each side. Or if you're in the kitchen cooking and you're just standing there, stand on one leg sometimes, or if you're just chopping, whatever, practice your balancing. The last myth is I need to stretch more before I play. Well, what you actually need to do isn't just pre-round stretching. It's adding in mobility exercises each and every day, because when you're consistent with practicing your mobility, then you're going to be just doing better throughout when you actually go play golf. Okay, so why do golfers 50 plus need strength training? Golf is still your game, so let's keep it that way. I want everyone to be nice and strong, because strength training prevents injuries. It is going to increase your swing speed. It supports better balance and mobility. And loss of muscle begins as early as 40. So we want to make sure, and even in your 30s, you can begin losing muscle. So we want to stop that trend. And you can when you are consistent with strength training, and it's not as much time as you think. Strength supports posture, balance, and joint control. And stronger golfers maintain distance and reduce overuse injuries. One of the most fun things for me is the fact that when I play golf with my ladies, I have a lot of snowbirds who come. And when they come back in the fall and we play again, they're like, Janice, what on earth have you been doing? You need to be drug tested. And I love when they say that to me, because I am out driving them by 20, 30, 40 yards. And I love it. But it's because I know I strength train just a little bit different than probably what they do. So, some effective strength moves that you can add into your routine or make sure that they're there. The first one is the glute bridge. The glute bridge is going to be one of the most important exercises that you can have in your repertoire of exercises. And the glute bridge with a pelvic tilt, when you learn a great pelvic tilt, it's really going to be effective for your golf swing, because as we in the golf swing, when you take away, you're in an anterior tilt of your pelvis. But when you are firing through the golf ball, you go into a posterior tilt, and that's where your power comes in. That's why this glute bridge is so important. So when you do a glute bridge, though, again, this is something you want to do slow and controlled. And there's two great ways to do this. One is just When you lift up, you're gripping your glutes, you're bracing your abs, and you're really getting yourself into a straight line from your neck to your knees. The second way to do this is also with gripping your glutes, bracing your abs, but then coming up and down one vertebrae at a time, because now you're working on mobility with this exercise. And when you just practice peeling your spine off the floor, it's going to help your spine just move so much better. But then when you lower down, this is where a lot of people have a hard time, is their low back gets, I call chunky, where that just comes off in one chunk. But we want every vertebrae to come up and down off the floor. If you think of your vertebrae as a string of pearls, and as you're lowering yourself down one pearl at a time, one vertebrae at a time, that's what you want to do with this exercise. But really grip your glutes, brace your abs, and it becomes a very powerful exercise. Now, a rotational press. Again, you want, when you're doing strength training moves for golf, you want to mimic what we're doing. And we will be like, when you are doing a rotational press, we are rotating in the golf swing. We need to practice that in strength training. So I love this exercise. I practice like I'm punching someone in the face. So I have my left arm forward in the picture, and as I push and as I push out, I act like someone is there for me to punch in front of me. That is my weight shift. Also, I make sure that I am like I want to punch you in the face. Not you personally, but you know what I mean. But that's how you want to do that exercise, and do the weight shift, shift from your weight from the back foot to the front foot. Because guess what we do in golf? We shift. We're supposed to be shifting the weight from our trail leg to our front leg. And then this exercise, I love, a one-legged reach knee lift. This is a great exercise also. You are working balance as well as strength. And so I just put my water bottle down on the floor, and I start off with the knee lift. And then without my foot touching the floor, I extend my foot behind me, and then I reach for the water bottle, and I make sure I'm hinging at the hip, bending the leg. It's not just a hip hinge. You are bending the knee also, and then coming back up to the knee lift. This is a great strength move. You can add a dumbbell into your hand if you want to as well, to make it a little bit harder, whatever works for you, but you can do 8 to 10 reps, 10 to 12 reps on each side for all of these exercises. For the glute bridges, I actually do like to do more. I like to do 12 to 15, if not 20 of those, but I make sure that I am squeezing a lot. Okay, so let's look at how lack of strength affects the golf swing. So our lats, if we have limited strength, now we have poor shoulder and pelvis control, because our lat attaches on our pelvis and then up into the shoulder area. So we end up with loss of posture, power, and swing speed. Our thoracic spine, we end up with a limited rotation. So if we aren't strong there, limited rotation, poor posture, we're going to have a shortened backswing, less power, and again, we're going to have injuries from this because we're compensating. Our hips, we have reduced rotation and stability if we have limited strength. This is where we slide and sway. We have less power, and again, higher injury risk. Our hamstrings, we got to have strong hamstrings, and we have end up with a poor hip hinge, unstable pelvis, and then we end up with bad posture, early extension, and loss of consistency. And everyone hates that. You know that. Our shoulders, our rotator cuff, we have lack of stability and control then in our swing. We're going to end up with a shorter swing. We're going to have arm stress. We want to make sure that swing comes from our legs, not from the arms. And then we're going to be reducing our speed. Our abdominals, if we don't have strong abdominals, we have poor trunk stability and energy transfer. And we have instability then. We have less power and, again, higher injury risk. And then our glutes, if we don't have strong glutes, we're going to have poor hip stability and power. So therefore, we have loss of balance, reduced distance, and then, of course, again, injury risk. And that is what we're trying to get rid of, is reducing our risk of injury. So areas golfers should focus on: our glutes and core, because this is where the power and protecting the back really come from. We need strong shoulders so that way we have stability throughout the swing. And then our legs, we want to make sure we have stability in our base and our weight transfer. So the key takeaway with that is strengthening these areas is fundamental for a powerful, efficient, and injury-resistant golf swing. Weakness in any of these links of the kinetic chain leads to compensations, loss of power, and a greater risk of injury. So let's put this all together. So 2 to 3 times a week should be strength and core training. And the thing to remember is you don't have to be doing this for hours on end. You can work out for 30 to 45 minutes pretty much every day and get it down to 30 minutes. That's all you would need each day that you exercise. 2 times a week, practice mobility and balance work. Also, throw some of those exercises into your strength and core training as well. So that way you're getting it all in one. And of course, I have to throw in twice a week, you really should be playing golf because that's why we're here. We love golf and you should be playing twice a week. So that's part of your exercise prescription as well. But really, again, it's not about the hours in the gym. It's about being consistent with it. If there's some days that you really only have time for 20 minutes, do the 20 minutes. Don't forgo it. Fit it in throughout the day if you need to. One of my clients, she splits her workouts up all the time. She might be doing 10, 15 minutes one morning, and then later in the afternoon, she might find time for 20 or even 30 minutes later on in the day. When she thought she only had time for 10, she's like, oh, I just threw in a little bit extra. So what I've done for you though is that you can go ahead and get all these exercises that I had in this presentation and get them in a PDF. But then I've also included a workout schedule for you. I have a blank calendar for you and one that has suggestions of what you should do. And this way you can print off the blank one and then write in, because the best thing that you can do for yourself when it comes to an exercise program is to put it on your calendar, to make sure that you have it scheduled, have it written down, or however you work with your calendar. Block off that time and treat it as an appointment as you would with someone else that you wouldn't cancel on, because the last person you want to cancel on is you. So you can go ahead and grab this workout schedule also. That's included with this. You can go to the jtfitnessandgolf.com. If you're not on your phone, go ahead and go to the QR code and you can grab the free ebook and the calendar right there. But I'm also going to highly recommend that you get on a golf fitness chat with me. It's a free 30-minute golf fitness chat. I would love to learn more about you, what your goals are, and what do you want to improve on? How can I help you? It might be with me, it might not be with me. I don't care. Let's just talk and come up with a plan for you. And that's what that QR code is next to the golf fitness chat. It will take you to my calendar and get you on my calendar so we can have a conversation. Or feel free to go check out jtfitnessandgolf.com. I have different programs that I'm going to run through a few of them right now. I have a new device that I've absolutely fallen in love with that's been a game changer for me. It's called the Axios Core Strength Training. It's that device that's in that picture. And with this, you get a golf fitness assessment via Zoom, goal setting. We do strength, mobility, and balance workouts. These are 3 sessions a week, 25 to 30-minute sessions, and that is it. There is video with every workout. So each workout has their how-to video. But then when you are doing the exercise, you are getting coached through each and every rep, which is awesome. And you get unit feedback. If you look at the picture, there's green lights lit up. So that means I'm doing good there. I have good balance. However, you can get yellow and red also, or nothing, and that's not good. That means that you aren't doing good, but it's great because you actually get the feedback right away. And again, this is done in the comfort of your own home, or you can do it at the gym, whatever is convenient for you. And you also actually video yourself doing each exercise so that way you can get the trainer feedback. And I absolutely love this. Now, I also have a 90-day golf fitness challenge. Again, you get a golf fitness assessment done via Zoom. Goal setting, I have strength, mobility, flexibility, and rotational training. We do weekly check-ins, monthly one-on-one coaching calls, and I have a high-end training app to provide the workouts for you that are all customizable to you. That's why we do the coaching calls and the weekly check-ins. If anything needs to be modified, we can modify it right then and there. These workouts are done in the comfort of your own home, or you can do them at the gym if you don't have equipment. And the workouts are done when it's convenient for you. But I always know when you work out because I get a notification once you finish the workout. And then I also do have one-on-one Zoom personal training. Again, we do a golf fitness assessment, goal setting, strength, mobility, flexibility, and rotational training. These are appointment-made workouts. So we do have 1 to 2 sessions per week. And I have very limited space for this. I only have room for 4 people. But if you're someone who loves to actually have the trainer there, again, I'd be via Zoom, but have someone there and make you accountable that way, that to have that strict appointment, then this could be potentially for you. So it's time to elevate your golf game. Go to jtfitnessandgolf.com, the golf fitness chat, and get yourself scheduled. And again, I would just love to talk to you. And I'm going to now open this up for any questions. I'm going to stop the screen share and go from there. So I just want to know what kind of questions you guys have and how can I help you? Oh, great, Herb. I agree. Great. Definitely calendar things, and that makes a huge difference for sure. So I'll give you guys a minute to type any questions that you have, and if any way I can help you. Oh, side bends, Herb, side bends are really hard. It's thoracic mobility is why it's so hard. And that's one area to work on. And I'm with you. I have when I go to the left, I get stuck over there. My right side is better, but you can definitely improve strength will help with side bends as well. But yes, side bends are just hard. And I'm glad this has been very helpful. There's Herb. Hi, Herb. Do you want to unmute yourself? If
Sure.
anyone,
Thank you. This has been very, very helpful. I've taken a lot of notes. I look forward to your scheduling. I'm a big fan of calendaring, these kind of things, and I need to get back on that. So far, so good. Thank you.
good.
Be
If
in
anyone,
touch.
if anyone else wants to pop on, feel free to do so. And then, yeah, otherwise, I think I'm going to stop the recording.